Holy guacamole. Barcelona, Arsenal. We haven't seen Arsenal in a final in quite some time. Going up against Barcelona, who are going to win it 3 years in a row. That's their ambitions. What's your thoughts?
Right. I feel that I'm quite strong on these thoughts, and I don't know how sometimes where you've got that like thought, and then you're actually like, oh, I was miles off it there.
Yeah, I know
I'm like,
that
is that
feeling a
going to
lot.
happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guess that is actually just you as an everyday person, kind of miles off it. But I'm like, I feel like Barcelona, like they've been here before. It's just another final to them right now, and I just feel like they're going to go and want to wipe the floor with Arsenal and just make like show we are the champions of Europe still, and yous have all got so much work to do to catch us. And then you've just got Arsenal like, we have nothing to lose. We're the underdogs. We've spoken on it before. Is it the year of the underdogs? So they're going to go in, but at the same time, they're going to need to deal with the occasion, the nerves, and then just getting up to speed and playing against the likes of Barcelona. And they've not played Barcelona in a long time. So it's like, when you're exposed to that, you have to be absolutely on it, and you're needing to ride your luck, and you need them to be off it a wee bit. And I'm like, are they going to get all them three things on that day? I just don't know if that will happen. So I'm going to go with a Barcelona win. But I hope it's a good game. And like we said, Arsenal have got nothing to lose. There's players in that squad that will have the kind of mindset and the, not the arrogance, but the belief. Like you've got Caldente in there, who's played with Barca. She's won it with Barca a few times. But then you've got other players in there, like any of them Lioness players would be like, well, we are, I'm a Lioness, I'm English, we don't bow down to anyone. We'll go toe to toe with these teams, like where you see England play Spain, like that's a good competitive game now. But I just don't know if you can go toe to toe with Barcelona right now when you haven't really played them regularly, because I feel like you just leave yourself open to be sort of ripped apart. I'd like to see Arsenal obviously press them in moments where they can, where there's pressing moments from goal kicks and throw-ins and, kind of really getting at them like that. But then I'd like to see them just kind of fall in and really try and frustrate Barcelona and go back to making the game ugly if they have to, and then relying on the likes of Caldente for a moment of magic, Russo to get them up the pitch and hold the ball up and get support up and just maybe change it a wee bit. Not going too far away from their style, but I think they're going to need to do a bit of that to actually compete and stay in the game. That's important. Stay in the game as long as possible.
Well, speaking of which, Alessia Russo has been speaking to the Kickback earlier on in the week ahead of the Champions League final. Here you go.
Huge game coming up for you, Arsenal-Barcelona in Lisbon for the Champions League final. I mean, that sounds amazing to even say it. How are you feeling at the moment about it?
Really excited. We've got a couple of weeks training now leading into it, so we've just been enjoying training. It's not often that you get such a long time to build up to a game, so I think we're all wanting the game to come round, but it's good that we've got some time to prepare and time to just enjoy the lead up to it. And yeah, we're happy that we've extended the season for a little bit longer, and yeah, we'll be ready to go when it comes around.
And we all know how good Barcelona are, of course. They demonstrated that against Chelsea. What are you expecting for them, and how are you going to go about kind of trying to mitigate that threat?
Yeah, I mean, they're a world-class team full of amazing players that have won at the highest level consistently. So, yeah, it's going to be really tough. But I think our journey in the Champions League this year has been incredible, and this is where we deserve to be after what we've done. So yeah, it should be great. I mean, obviously, we'll be preparing and working hard over the next week or so. But everyone's really looking forward to it.
And of course, Arsenal are the only team ever to have won the Women's Champions League in its previous format, of course. Is that something that's been discussed at the club in the kind of build-up to this?
Yeah, I was actually saying just before that me and some of the girls were watching the highlights of that game when they won it at Boreham Wood. So it's crazy to see that was the last time, and the players that were playing in that, it was crazy. They were so good. So it's nice to have that as a bit of history in the club and something that we still look up to as current players. But no, it's what we want for the club. It's where we deserve to be and what we really want to keep pushing. And yeah, I came to Arsenal and love being at Arsenal because of the club in general, and to be able to represent them in the Champions League will be incredible.
Brilliant to hear from Alessia Russo in detail there ahead of the Champions League final. Ru, I have this feeling, you know, I'm having these thoughts. I think if you think with your head, what we know from Barcelona, as you've just mentioned there, they're such a tough team to go toe-to-toe with. They know how to step up in high-pressure environments and big moments, and they're looking to win it their third season straight. But one thing we do know about Arsenal this season is that Arsenal are better when they're under pressure. Arsenal are better when they're actually expected not to do well. Talking about even Real Madrid, going back to earlier on in the competition in the Champions League, you know, coming back from defeat, bouncing back, then going to Lyon, bouncing back in Lyon's backyard and being comfortable then in that game. And I think if you look at what they've done this season in terms of goal scoring, Rennie Slegers in the all-out attack, which seems to work pretty well for them. If they can just capitalise on moments when Barcelona might defensively switch off, they could do some real damage against the champions. And, you know, Russo's the prime example of somebody on her day and who has been brilliant this season, but they've got that secret ingredient, maybe that secret weapon with Mariona Caldente, player of the season, who's won the Champions League previously twice with Barcelona over the last couple of seasons. And I just think when Arsenal are expected to perform, they've been really disappointing, especially in the league. But they've used this Champions League as their springboard. Now they're in the final. Now they're looking and going, oh my goodness, we're here. We've made it to this point. Now, as you know, it's the beauty of a one-off game. Anything can happen. They've earned their place to be here. So whether they can believe enough in themselves and go, we can win this competition, you know, it's capitalising on those moments. But I think maybe because they are the underdog, because they are under pressure, because it is bloody Barcelona, that maybe Arsenal might throw up a bit of a shock.
Spit it out. Jesus, that took you about 20 minutes, man. But right, anyway, what you were saying, Cass, I totally hear what you are saying.
Thank you.
But I just feel like, yeah, I know what you're saying in Arsenal, like Alessia Russo has just said, they deserve to be there, and they do, because of they really put all their focus into the Champions League and they turned a few results around, and credit to them. They got there, they had that, they were able to do that because of how the league went this year for them, but they really capitalised on that and they've got to the final, which is absolutely unreal. And they'll have the mindset of, this is a game of football, anything can happen. And they've got to have that mindset going into this game because, well, if not, what's the point in being there? I just look and you look at the last, 4-5 games that Arsenal have played in all competitions, and they've leaked goals. They are leaking goals, so they're vulnerable too. And that is where I'm worried when you've got the likes of, I mean, the Barcelona midfield, the three of them between them have a combined 100 assists and goals between them, and that's the midfield. And then you look at the forward line, like, so I go, I would also be like concerned, and I'd be going, we cannot get exposed defensively. That's why I'm like, they might have to bank up a little bit and they might have to change their shape or just be more reserved and stay in the game. And it's going to be I'd expect to see, I mean, I don't know, Barcelona could have an off day and possession might not be what you think it's going to be, but I do expect Barcelona to absolutely dominate possession, and Arsenal will have to be composed and focused. But I just don't know how they'll do it because they don't play like that. They don't do it. And I feel like if the squad were all on the same page going, yeah, Barcelona, we have to bow down and accept that they are absolutely great and they're ahead of us right now because they've been consecutively performing in high-level tournaments for years now. Do we go, okay, we have to respect that and let's kind of just change our identity a wee bit for this game to try and frustrate them and stay in the game. That's all. That's my only concern. They've been leaking goals and Barcelona like to score goals. However, we know Arsenal can score goals. I'm not saying they can't, but I just think they have to be a bit more reserved and stay in the game for as long as they can.